I was going to save my voice, and each song kept getting better than the last one. It makes it hard to do. You ever have one of those days that you just know is going to be an awesome day from the very beginning? You know where you're going. Maybe you're going to an amusement park. You're going to do something fun. You got a day that's going to be a great day, and you know it. Man, I had one of those one time. I've had a lot of those, but I had one of those one time. We're going to go to the Watermelon Festival in Hempstead, Texas, the capital of watermelon. They call it Texas capital of watermelon. It's the capital of watermelon. The whole universe knows it. So we're in Hempstead, Texas. We get there early because you want to get a good spot for the parade. So we're right there. Main Street runs this way, and this street they've got closed off because they've got all the little carnival set up. And they got chicken on a stick and beef on a stick and alligator on a stick and sausage on a stick. If you can eat it and put it on a stick, it's there. It's going to be a great day. I'm so excited. When you get there, we're set up, we're right there on Main Street, the parade's going to start any minute. All of a sudden, we hear tires squeal. Everybody in the whole group looks, and on the other side, directly from us, on the road that has been blocked off for the past 4 hours, a pickup spins around the blockade, spins around backwards, and now he's backing up towards the parade route. Sure enough, he backs right up and pulls right up in the parade route right there. Door flies open. Bubba jumps out. Now, I don't know this man. I don't know what his name is, but based on his appearance, it's either Bubba or Dumpling. And Bubba gets out of the car. And Bubba comes walking towards the back of his pickup, and Bubba's wife gets out the other side, and she comes walking back. She's got an umbrella in one hand. She walks around the edge, and Bubba's just standing there waiting. She opens the tailgate so Bubba can hoist himself up on there. Then she walks past him, opens the umbrella, standing beside him, leans over, and puts it above Bubba's head to protect him from the sun. You could have heard an audible gasp on my whole side of the street. Everybody like this. I looked at my brother-in-law who was with me. His eyes were this big. I turned around and looked at my wife right beside me, just in time to see her go from amazement to disgust, to anger. And she looks at me with this anger. I can't help it. I'm grinning from ear to ear. I'm so happy. She looks at me, she goes, "Well, just what are you thinking?" Now, she was the first person to speak on our whole side of the street, so everybody that was watching that is now watching this. So I spoke up. I said, "Well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'm going to get up. I'm going to walk across this parade route. I'm going to walk up to Bubba right there. I'm going to look him dead square in his eyes, and I'm going to say, 'Teach me, Rabbi.'" That was not what she thought I was going to say. It is important in life that we know what makes us happy, and that we laugh together, and that we understand that in the world, talked about joy last week, kind of expanding that. In the world, there are non-Christians, and when they look at Christians, oftentimes they go, "Those people don't have any fun." Non-Christians look at Christians and they go, they're boring, they're dull, they're humorless, they're austere. Just because a Christian exercises self-control does not mean that we're boring. Doesn't mean that we don't laugh. Just because we all come in, we all line up, and we sit facing the same way, doesn't mean we don't laugh together as family. It doesn't mean that we're not having a good time. It doesn't mean anything that is satisfying and happy and joyous in life is outside of our grasp. We are ultimately more satisfied and more joyful than those who live outside of the relationship with God. In John 10:10, Jesus said, "I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly." I've come that they have life, that they have it more abundantly. The Greek word used there, and there's a lot of people here that can pronounce it better than I am, but I'm going to say that it's Parisian is the Greek word that's used there that Jesus uses. It means superabundant, superfluous, overflowing, over a certain quantity. A quantity so abundant as to be considerably more than what one would expect or anticipate. Overabundance. A joyful flowing. Paul informs us in Ephesians 3:20 that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. I got some big thoughts sometime. He's able to do more than I ask or more than I think. In 1 Corinthians 2:9 we're told, "Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love Him." God is prepared for us more than we imagine, more than we know, abundantly prepared for us to give us purpose. Well, one of the immortal moments in sports history came with golf. Now, that's when you get the audible gasp as well. Oh, not football? No. One of the great moments ever happened in golf. It was when a Scotsman came to show the President of the United States this new game. He came to talk to the sitting President, Ulysses S. Grant, and show him this great new game called golf. So he took out the golf ball, and he put it on a tee, and he took out his club, and he took a big swing. And dirt went everywhere, got in the beard of the President of the United States, and the ball didn't move. So the Scotsman took a swing again. After 6 swings of the club, the President said, "It appears to be a game with a lot of exercise, but I don't see the purpose in the ball." Purpose is important. It's all about purpose. The abundant life is a life of purpose. The purpose of the abundant life, of having a life that's more, is that we're able to do His will. His will. Romans 12:1-2 says, "Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." His will. The purpose of the abundant life is to do His good, pleasing, and perfect will. To do the Creator of the universe's good, pleasing, and perfect will. That doesn't sound dull. That doesn't sound joyless. That doesn't sound like a life without excitement in it. I'm going to do the will of the one who made life? That sounds like a fantastic purpose. To do the Creator's bidding, to live a life according to Him. Jeremiah 29:11 states, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." His will. At my funeral, it would be awesome if somebody can say, "You know, he lived a good and pleasing life according to God's will." That's a win. That's a victory lap. That's a celebration right there. A life lived according to His will. J. Paul Getty, one of the richest men in history, certainly in his time period, one of the richest men to ever walk upon the earth, J. Paul Getty said, "I hate and I regret the failure of my marriages. I would gladly give all my millions for just one lasting marital success." He possessed money to have whatever lifestyle brought him satisfaction. And at the end of his days, at the end of his time on this earth, he looks back and he regrets that he didn't live a life that was good. That he didn't live a life with another person that would be good. He felt like a failure, that he missed what life was all about, even though he had accumulated all that life could give in financial terms. They couldn't say at his funeral that he lived a good and pleasing life, a life according to God's will. You know, going back further in history, Solomon was a man like that. Unbelievable wealth. At his time, by far the wealthiest person that had ever lived. Power and privilege and prestige and everything imaginable. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chronicling his experimentation with life, he shows his various lifestyles, the projects, the possessions, the hobbies, the creature comforts that he had gathered around him. And what does he ultimately conclude about all of the above, about everything that the world has to offer, the person with the most money in the world? What does he conclude? Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Fear God and keep His commandments. This is the whole duty of man, within which wraps your purpose, within which wraps your joy, within which is the whole plan. That's it. That's the whole plan of God. Fear God and keep His commandments. This is the whole duty of man. Obedience. Obedience is the duty of man. To live according to His way. To live according to the way. Jesus is the way. Jesus came to live a perfect and pleasing life before God. A life that was so perfect that He would be a perfect atonement for my sin, for the sin of the world. In so doing, He set a perfect example, a life lived that pleases God. This is my Son in whom I am well pleased, said the voice that came from the heavens. A life that was simply more abundant. John writes in John 1:16 and 17, and from His fullness we have all received grace upon grace. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. Jesus came to give mankind the means by which he could properly keep God's commandment, the ability to be in relationship with God, the grace that is required to be in relationship with God. His grace makes commandment fulfillment a reality even when I don't live up to the mark. It's His grace that brings me the ability to live in relationship with God. It makes obedience a reality, an ability to be obedient even when I'm short. An ability to do that. Once a person is living this way, Paul calls it walking in the Spirit, Galatians 5 and 25. Once a person is living this way, is walking in the Spirit, his life is naturally going to be more abundant. God gives the ability for the Christian's life to be naturally more abundant because they're no longer under the pain and penalties of the crushing loss that comes under the law. Free. Free to live abundantly. Free to be excited. Free to have joy in life, regardless of the situation, but to live in a life that is so abundant. The big secret is that the abundant life is contained within the simple thing of obedience. Keeping God's commandments provides a life well lived, provides that abundance in life. Abundant life is not wealth, it's not prestige, it's not authority on this earth. Now, we're promised all of those things after we leave this world. We're promised to live in the home of the Creator. The abundant life is a life of purpose that enables us to live God's way in such a way, and in so doing, that we live a life that is a good and pleasing and perfect life. Perfect life. Even when I mess up, a perfect life. A life filled with love. A life filled with love. You know, we all have those that we love, that those are around us, those that we know. So I've got one of those. I got a bunch of those. But I got one of those with Vicki. A life of love that we've been together, we've been married. I can even say this because I checked it to make sure it was 32 years, right? So 32 years. And on our anniversary, I show my love for her by not buying her an anniversary card. That's how I do it. You know why? Because I know her. See, on our anniversary every year, what we do is we go to Walmart and we walk through the card section and we look at all the cards there, all the anniversary cards. And we go through, we look at them, and then once we find the perfect card for our beautiful spouse, we hang on to it as they look. And once we both have cards, we exchange cards. And we're right there in the aisle of Walmart. We read that card. Oh, it's perfect. Oh, we hug each other. And we put them back where they go and we leave. Because I know her. She gets furious if I spend $5 on a card that she reads and throws in the trash. She's like, there's no point in spending money on that. I know her. I love her and I know her and I know her ways. And it's the same way with God. Paul proclaims in his reason for living, I want to know Christ and the power of His rising. Jesus said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. His way is the way to the abundant life, and we do that through our obedience. To simply know Him is to simply obey Him, and to be with Him, and to love Him. I'm going to continue my stories with Vicki because she was the low-hanging fruit today. So I got the call, say, hey, can you teach a class today? Because Coy's got the COVID. I'm like, yeah, I can do it as long as Coy's going to be okay. I can teach the class. So thinking of all these different things and thinking about this abundant life, and I have an abundant life, and I'm so joyful for it, and I've got a wonderful existence, and I think that, I'm the king of my castle sometimes. Sometimes I believe that. And, then I speak up loud and I understand I'm not. But sometimes I think I am. And there are things that I think I can do in my house. Like wash the clothes. I can do that. How hard can that really be? I'm going to help Vicki out one time. I'm going to wash some clothes. I take all the clothes and I throw them in the washer and turn it on. I scoop out all the clothes, I throw them in the dryer and turn it on. When I go back to pull them out, that beautiful cashmere sweater she has won't fit my 5-year-old. And I have been banned from washing her clothes. Now, she's okay with me washing my clothes. I wash all the clothes I want, not hers. So, not long ago, I got a new pullover, and I wore it, liked it, probably got a little barbecue sauce on it. I took it in there and I'm going to wash it. I throw it in that washer and I'm about to turn it on. I don't want it to fit a 5-year-old when it comes out. So I've learned. So I yell out at Vicki. Say, I'm fixing to wash this new pullover. What should I set it on? She yells back, well, what's the jacket say? Well, it says Giga Maggie's. She said, no, what's the instructions on the tag? Oh, okay. Life is easier with instructions. There's less missteps, there's less disappointment, there's less problems if you follow the instructions. And God knows that. God knew all along life is simply easier and much more abundant if we'll just follow His instructions, if we'll just obey. What is the abundant life? It's a life filled with purpose according to His plan. Again, Jeremiah 29:11 said, for I know the plans I have for you. God says, I know the plans I have for you plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future. His plan for you is perfect in 2022. His plan for you, regardless of what the external world around you causes, regardless of tires that go flat and cars that don't work and problems at work and jobs that go away and on and on and on and on, regardless of what else may happen around us or to us, His plan for us is perfect and giving us an abundant life, a life that reaps the rewards of the purpose that He has for us. If you're enjoying the benefits of being in relationship with Him, but need the prayers of this body, we're here for you. If you've never come into contact with Him through the blood of Christ, through the waters of baptism, we're here for you. We're here for you as a family of God to let you know that the life is abundant, that the life is full of joy, and that there's room for you at the table. All of this is yours. If we can serve you in any way, please come as we stand and sing.